And again, I'm a firm believer that, walls work where they make, when they're deployed where they make sense. The technology works. Our agents need the support from an administration that backs them, because they're out there saving lives and protecting us.
Yeah.
So again, we stop conflating the two, and we focus on border security.
We also need to really look closely at American foreign policy in the State Department.
Yeah, absolutely.
And we need to look at, has our government already been infiltrated by people who don't mean the best for the taxpayer?
Oh, I have no doubt. I have no doubt. I mean, I've been in there and into those high level meetings, and when policies are discussed, and it's like, this is not what the law says, and they're like, well, policy gives us these type of latitudes, and they're like, that's not right, and those are issues that work themselves out, but it shouldn't be that way. It should be about securing the border first.
Justice Thomas, because he just took all that away from them, from the slave owners.
Yeah.
He just reversed the right of the slave owners.
Yeah.
Because we're talking about, well, if you really look at things and where they lead, which you have to do if you're going to be conscious.
Right.
Like the United States, well, when Hillary Clinton and all them killed Gaddafi, that was the most woman-friendly, pro-African man and government in the whole world. And what they do in Libya right now is they're selling black people as slaves for $400. That's what it costs to buy a black person in Libya. So that is the progressive values that the Democrat Party brought to Libya. And my friend who was on here last podcast, we said, let's raise a whole bunch of money and buy a whole bunch of slaves, black slaves from Libya, bring them over here. I said, yeah, but I'm going to make them help me, pick up the garbage around here, the work that needs to be done, for a week or two, and then free them.
Yeah.
But
Gavin McInnes, of course.
But I mean, because we're always looking at, as people who are supporters of the Republic, of the constitutional Republic of the United States of America, who made slavery illegal, which they never tell nobody. That's what we're supposed to stand for now in this century. An end to slavery. And under the Democrat policy, there are more slaves in the United States now than there have ever been.
What I mentioned, they want servants over citizens, and because citizens will eventually stand their ground. That is why the whole of government approach, and again, this is under this utopia mindset that we're all working together in the right reason. We have to secure the border. We have to have strong consequences for those that exploit our laws, exploit the people,
our children,
most importantly, right? Because we got to leave it better than we got it. But also, like you said, the foreign policy, the State Department needs to be the right people that are looking at America's. It's not wrong to look at America's best interests, because until we get America right, we can't take care of anybody else.
Right.
It's like, how do you, as a parent, if I'm not right, how can I expect to take care of my wife and kids? And why are we looking at the country any different? Why are we giving billions? I'm all about helping our allies, but charity starts at home.
That's right.
We've got to be able to take care of America first, and then be willing to help out others. And sometimes we have to do that at the same time, but not at the
I think we should ask our allies to assist us.
Well, I don't disagree with you. We saw that when people had to pay their fair share at NATO, and how things were, and things were peaceful.
They're like, huh?
Yeah. What does that mean? But
they're like my kids. What?
I'm glad to know everybody's kid does that. What?
You know what a good analogy for your analogy is, and when I listen to you, is a tourniquet. It's you've got an open wound that's bleeding, and you have to tie it off. You have to stop the bleeding. Then you can get it surgically fixed. Then you can find out where the shock came from or the injury came from. But you have to stop the bleeding first. And that's basically what I hear you saying is there's a million things we can talk about, but until that border's secured, it's all null and void.
Because that border,
I love
the
that.
border insecurity, really what it is
it starts there.
It's taking all the taxpayers' money and sending it all over the world out of the United States, so we don't get schools, hospitals, roads, or anything for our taxes.
Jake's analogy.
That's
right there.
why we fucking had the Declaration of Independence.
Absolutely.
Hello.
Yep. Jake's analogy is spot on, right? You have to stop that bleeding. Otherwise, everything you do is not going to save that person. If their femoral artery is blown up and you don't put the tourniquet above the wound, he's going to bleed out. And that's what's happening right now
Yeah.
under this administration. That's what his bipartisan Senate bill would have done. It would have continued the bleeding. The H.R. 2 that sat there and still sits in Schumer's inbox is the tourniquet waiting to shut off the bleed. And this administration has not done that. Those executive orders is bleeding out. There's nothing there to secure the border. It's there to help facilitate and put caps on those that have crossed illegally, having the right to claim asylum, but 10 and 20,000 people a day could come across,
Right.
but only 2,500 over a 7-day average could claim asylum. The rest have to go back and wait in line. That is not a tourniquet. That is putting Band-Aids on an open wound that's
Right.
not healing it. And I love the
Well,
way
what
you put
I
that.
love
It's
is
spot
that
on.
if they did tell all these immigrants or illegal aliens, whatever they're, that they could vote, here's what I say, what I pray for. Y'all, you left a shithole and don't bring it here. You got to vote Trump. If they let you vote, vote Trump.
And you can
because,
stay here if you vote Trump.
You know, we won't come after you if you vote Trump.
It doesn't. It's not just around the world. It happens in our own country. They leave policies in California and come over and
Yeah.
and
That's what we did.
I mean, that fucking crazy ass news scum, that fucking crazy ass son of a bitch, that's
Satan.
Nancy
He's pure
Pelosi's
Satan.
demonic satanic nephew. He just passed the bill that made Elon Musk leave California.
Yeah, you know,
Because it's like how parents have no rights. If their kid goes, oh, my balls itch, well, that's because you're a girl.
yeah,
They
that's,
take your kid from you.
You know, that's another thing,
It's
right?
trafficking because they go like, oh, we could do all of our Nazi experiments on their genitals and touch them a lot.
Yes.
He was on.
And
the
the
same
insurance
realization.
company will pay for it
Yeah.
because our baby blood drinking Democrat donors sell insurance.
Yeah.
And then you don't have to tell the parents anymore because parents is what gets in the way of the Democrat baby blood drinkers.
I've just never
They want them
understood
organs.
that. My
They
gosh.
want those black livers. They want those black
Roseanne
children
Barr
livers.
podcast. Aren't you
Yeah.
glad
I'm
you
telling
came
you the
on?
truth, and I've been saying it for a long
No,
time.
I tell you what,
Black children livers are with melanin.
There's a t-shirt.
They are the highest bidded livers for these fucking vampires.
Hillary
When
loves the
people
Haitian
figure
livers.
out that the whole border shit is for a genocide on Black America, then they'll go, oh, Roseanne, you were telling us the truth the whole time. And that is what it is. It's a genocide on the working class, which is largely Black, and I hate white people in the working class too. So you better start talking to each other and stop on the hate. And as I say, our only hope is to take the hate that they forced on us to feel for each other, and instead point it upwards at the people who actually create this shit for once. And God's going to see that happen this time. I feel it.
I hope so. I hope we get it right. We've got to. We don't
We
have
have
a
to
choice.
save each other.
Yes.
Hey,
Nobody
Chris,
else is.
If Biden gets 300 million votes, which is what I'm expecting.
Yeah,
in
300
24.
million
300 million.
votes.
It's most at 3 in
It's
the
three
morning.
times what he got last time.
Yeah.
Wow.
Well,
That's
he's
what
got
he's gonna
3,
get.
4, 5 a.m. He's going to
Yeah.
get 3 times. But if, let's
Everybody
say,
in China is going to vote for
Yeah.
him.
That's right.
10
That's right.
times over. But anyway, let's say he does stay president and we got 4 more years of this. Are we going to still have a country in 4 years?
No.
We are, because Iran, God bless Iran, and they kicked out Obama and Valerie Jarrett in the Iran deal. So everybody needs to be aware of that, because along with the Chevron deference thing, bitch, you lost.
But if Biden's still
But
president
here's-
with
here's
these
what I
Biden
see
is
happening.
going to resign 2 days after he
well, then
accepts.
whatever. 4 more years of this.
If we have
continued
4 more
policy.
years of this, there's 2 ways this can go, right? They're gonna, why buy the cow if you get the milk free, right? So whatever they're planning,
That's what all my husband said.
whatever they're planning, they can continue this,
Right.
because they can continue to mass their army. They can continue to exploit the people that are being exploited.
Right.
Our policies, our laws, the American worker, even the corruptions, the
Right.
corrupt politicians, and all that stuff. Why end it?
Right.
Because American workers ain't going
Just
to
have
let
to
them
keep
do
talking.
it.
Well, that's my hope, is that people have woken up. That's why we continue to talk about this.
You want to go back to $2 an hour, bitches? You better
No.
get busy.
That's right. Well, to Jake's question
Yeah.
is, if we continue with this same administration for 4 more years, we will be in a world of hurt. We may not see it
Right.
change,
I
but
agree.
it's changing, because that's my concern. And if we get it right in November, and we have a President Trump that is in office, it's going to be a very interesting 60 days or whatever it is to inauguration, because I
Yeah.
think that's the time where I would be concerned,
Me
because
too.
I'll
people are
tell
gonna
you,
act,
I'm
right?
not concerned at all
It's more scary
because,
if Trump wins.
as I say in my act to these liberals and, well, everybody really, you might have your plans and you might make them and they might be, enshrined in gold.
Somebody else has got a plan for
But I'd like you to meet my little friend. You may not know him. You may never know or ever heard of him, but his name is God.
Yeah.
And he is in control, and he's smarter than all y'all.
you. Yeah.
And he'll get what he wants.
I don't disagree with you on that, but in our physical earth here,
Yeah.
I that's where I would just be. I would be watching my back, like I'm watching here.
You're looking at the usual suspect.
Yeah.
That's a mass murder right
Yes.
there.
So we've got to get it right. And but here's where I will say, and I mentioned earlier, I've been in a lot of states the last 18 months speaking about the border. Is I can tell you whether it was New Hampshire, the Carolinas, Michigan, Iowa, all
Love
points in
Iowa.
between. It was a great time there. People are fed up.
Yeah,
they're
they are.
waking up and they're tired
They
of it,
had it.
and they've seen that this is, it's
Black
like
and white is seeing it.
Oh yeah, well,
pure.
absolutely, because again, they tried. What has happened to the middle class, right? And the working class has been been
Replaced.
replaced, right? And no one's helping them
Scourged.
out. Yep.
Impoverished.
But I think that people are fed up
Arrested.
and they're going to act,
Incarcerated.
and I think that
hope you're
writing
right.
is on the wall.
I do say they always say this is the most important election every year, but this is the most important election.
Well, that's why I say, and we'll end with my toast to the American people. Here's where it comes down to.
Yeah.
God wants me to say this to you because the Lord's put it on my heart, as they say. To all you people who've never voted, which is 45% of this country, you and I'm not going to vote because it don't make no difference. Okay, maybe that's true. It's all fixed. I don't matter what I vote. Maybe that's all true. But right now, it's up to you. Give it a try.
Yeah, give it a
For
shot.
this once, register to vote and vote for Trump for your best interests and the interests of your kids and your grandchildren. We don't want to send our working class off to die in war in Ukraine. Mm-hmm. We don't want nuclear holocaust. We want peace. We want prosperity. And we want to get along with our neighbors and people we don't necessarily agree with. We want to be able to discuss shit with them. We don't want to call them down and demonize them because that's the way of Satan. You better go and you better vote. I'm doing it. You do it just this once. Thank you so much for viewing. And thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for
You're
having me.
a great American.
Thank you. I appreciate that. I mean that. Thank you.